Hi there, welcome to my second 10-minute one of today, and unfortunately the second one to discuss what's happened down in Southport as today's progressed. Obviously, there's been a lot of reaction after the murder of three young girls between 6 and 9 years of age. And the first thing that seemed to happen today was Keir Starmer made a drop off at the street where these young girls were murdered to drop off some flowers, lay some flowers and a note and pay his respects. Wasn't treated, it wasn't received too well by the locals. Many shouting, "What are you going to do about it? How many more?" etc., etc. And you can understand why the people locally were unhappy. There was one person could be heard shouting, a female, that it was her friend's daughter was one of the murdered children. You can understand why tempers were a wee bit flared at that point, but there was nothing more than some verbals aimed at the newly elected Prime Minister. I think the fact that his government's been in for such a short time and he can gain that amount of upset tells you about what the public think about his new government and how they've managed to go off him in such a short space of time, which is actually quite amazing for such a landslide victory. Tells you everything you need to know about the current state of politics in the UK, that they were so fed up with the old government, they weren't celebrating when the new one came in. And within weeks, the Prime Minister himself is the victim of some verbal abuse. And I don't have much sympathy for that. So that happened earlier on today. There was then some postings on social media about vigils and things like that. But I saw one that concerned me and it said they were protesting. I thought, come on, some of these young kids are still in, a critical condition, and we maybe don't need protests right away. But there was obviously a vigil as well to be done, so there were apparently a lot of people putting down flowers and tributes near the scene earlier on this evening. Then, unfortunately, we had the first of a couple of things to happen, and that was what looked like a young man, foreign looking, wielding apparently a machete in the streets of Southport. He seems to have been arrested and put away, although the police, we don't seem to have anything confirming that as yet, but there's plenty of stuff on social media that suggests it's tonight and suggests it's Southport, but that is yet to be confirmed. But certainly there's a man taken away, and those claiming to have witnessed it are claiming he had quite a large machete on him, which is frightening when you think of where they are and what's happened there in the last 24 hours. So that happened. Then there was people headed towards a mosque apparently, and were chanting and showing signs of aggression. The police have decided to put out a statement saying that the force says there's a large group of people believed to be supporters of the English Defence League, and the language that's been used now, there might be things that are happening that are unsavoury, and that could be discussed in finer detail at some point in the future. But when you look at the words used, violence has erupted outside a mosque in Southport. The people believed to be supporters of the English Defence League. There's obviously various different description of this, calling out far right, etc. And I fail to see how you can tell that by the footage that we've probably all seen on social media. And I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy. There's incidents in the streets tonight. I think it's very, very close to the situation. I totally understand why some people are upset. I'm upset. I think the whole society's gone to pot, particularly over the last few weeks. And I can understand why the majority of people in the United Kingdom would feel they're getting persecuted. And there's been several instances where people felt there's been two-tier policing over the course of the last months with certain protests, etc. And I did claim that a few weeks ago that when the majority of people in society feel they are getting persecuted, it's a pressure cooker. And as the pressure mounts, unfortunately, we've seen many instances over the last few weeks alone with the way society's dealt with certain things. And when the pressure cooker gets to a certain point, the seals don't work anymore and the thing will blow. And I just hope and pray that that's not tonight in the streets of Southport. I can see from the footage people upset. I can understand why. People are angry, people are confused, people are left wondering what's going on, and they want answers. And that can lead to frustration. And then when you just mount up all the things that's happened over the last few weeks, then you can understand it's not going to take much to blow. There have been some alleged footage of a police van on fire again. We had that confirmed by the police. I've not put a statement about that yet. And but it certainly appears to be in the streets of Southport tonight, and it breaks my heart. And I'm not going to condone or condemn this right now. I think we need to learn more about a lot of things that's going on in Southport over the last 24, 48 hours. And similar to what happened at Manchester Airport, you get drip-fed information. Sometimes it's not easy to see the full picture. From a personal point of view, I would love to know more about the man arrested and accused of these murders and attempted murders. But right now, there's people coming to terms with losing children, and there's people still concerned for children and adults who are currently in critical conditions in hospital. So although I would like to know more about what happened, I think I can quite easily take a step back and wait, because the first and foremost, our thoughts, our prayers and the efforts of the country must be with the families, the children that have lost their lives, and the children and adults that are still currently in hospital, and their families and friends. And I think it must be quite upsetting for them to have to deal with these things and see riots in their community, or what looks like riots in the community. But I'm not going to sit here and condone or condemn what's going on. I can understand it. I might not think it's wise timing wise. And unfortunately, I did suggest that these things might happen as the pressure in society, and predominantly British born and bred society, feel persecuted as the majority, which it's just got to stop. I don't have the answers, but the people running this country, the people running the police forces, they need to step up to the plate, and they need to do it quick, because there's a lot of people frustrated, angry, and feeling almost helpless now. They feel that society is broken beyond repair. I'm not at that point yet. It is broken, and it seems to be getting worse. But the politicians, the country's leaders, police forces really, really need to get on top of this before it's too late. Because if, God forbid, we had any more incidents over the next few days or weeks, it'll just mount. And I'm not comfortable with the situation just now. I think there's two things you can do when there's problems, whatever they are, whatever situations in life, and that is apportion blame or sort the problem out. I think right now we need to start sorting problems before everybody else starts apportioning blame. Just finish this off by saying it's sad. I mean, you can tell I'm not my normal self here. The death of these three wee girls and their pictures have been playing in my mind through most of the day. And I'm angry. I'm angry at where society is. I'm angry at why and how we've ended up here. So many people could see this coming for such a long time, and nobody wanted to listen. And what really frustrates me is anytime anybody speaks up about what's going on in this country right now, you're told you're far right, you're an extremist, you're a racist, you're an obier of some sort. And that's simply not true. I know people of all different races that are concerned with this. But when anything happens, the default setting is that it's far right, it's extremists, it's nasty words, and it's unhealthy. That'll just anger more people. We see some sides of society when anything happens, we're told that it's some man with mental health problems. It's no terror. It's nothing to do with that. When other parts of society react, they seem to get labelled very, very quickly. So there's been another report that there's been armed response sent to the area in Southport, and it appears that the police car, there's video footage of a police car. The suggestion is that that's been an armed response. It was turned round by the group of people in Southport who are angry right now. God forbid there should be any problems with firearms tonight. I severely hope not. And I don't have the answers. But people who serve us in positions of power, it's their job to have the answers and the solutions. And I hope and pray they find them soon. If you want to see more of these videos, click the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Most important of all, stay safe. Good night.